Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as we get started on this Monday morning, temperatures are a little bit warmer in the west than they are in the east. We've got 0 degrees in Calgary, -2 in Medicine Hat, but then -6 and -10 as you make your way to Saskatoon and Regina, and then -9 in Winnipeg. So a little on the chilly side as you make your way off towards central and eastern portions of the Prairie. As we look at the satellite picture here, we've got a big disturbance making its way in across the Pacific, making landfall here across the Pacific Northwest. I'll hit play on this once again. You can see the cyclonic flow there. And then out ahead of that, some ridging. That's the reason for the warmer temps beginning to slide their way in from west to east. As you look at the radar picture, quiet across the Prairie provinces, very little in the way of precipitation to talk about over the next 5 to 7 days, and what's really going to be a mostly mild and quiet next week across the Prairie. We'll take a look at the high-resolution NAM model, and this will show us as that system makes its way through here and dives off to the south, we could see a couple of snowflakes flying through the air primarily tomorrow, and then primarily across central and southern portions of Saskatchewan down toward the Saskatchewan and Manitoba border. So kind of right in this range, but really I'm talking about snowflakes flying, nothing in the way of accumulation. And then as we head deeper into the week, high pressure moves in. We're even going to see much more in the way of sunshine as we get toward the end of the week here. And really what's been a very winter-like November, you're going to be starting off with a very, at least mild and quiet first week of December. I won't promise anything summer-like, certainly, but it will be, again, milder and quieter, which is a refreshing change here across the Prairie. Now here's the upper level pattern. We're looking at the jet stream winds at 500 millibars. And again, this is going to look pretty muddy as we get going into the next 5 to 7 days, but I'll simplify it for you here in a couple of ways. So we'll bring it on back. Here's the disturbance right now that's bringing the cloud cover to the region. That very low chance for a couple of snowflakes as we get into the midday hours on Tuesday before that system dives off to the south. Look at that. And we're going to end up with a cutoff low across the western U.S. here as we get into all the way into the weekend now. We end up with this pattern with high over low. So we've got a high across the Prairie, across the northern U.S., we've got a trough here across the western U.S. This high over low pattern, this can get rather stuck because this trough, it's got no reason to go with that flow coming around the backside of the high above it. Again, there's nothing to kind of push it off to the west. So this is a pattern that could end up getting stuck here as we go into the first 7, 10, maybe 14 days of December. And it's one that is going to be, again, let me take the details away. We'll kind of remove the cloak and just look at the 500 millibar height anomaly pattern. And again, this is a pattern that sets up once we get into the middle and later part of this week. That high over low is going to lead to a lot of persistent ridging across the region. And this is a pattern that deflects moisture off to the northwest. We're going to see a lot of that precipitation, that Pacific moisture being wrung out here across British Columbia, across the higher elevations there, and then swaths of snow potentially well off to the north. But this is a pattern that leaves us mild and dry across the Prairie provinces as we head into the next 7 to 14 days. And as I'm showing you here, we're looking at the next 10 days on the left, your temperature anomalies, and then on the right, the precipitation anomaly forecast. And it's essentially what I just described to you there on the 500 millibar anomaly plot. And that is a warmer pattern and a drier pattern across the ag belt of the Canadian Prairie. I'll go ahead and jump back and really show you on the precipitation map. There's also what I mentioned, a lot of that moisture being wrung out here across coastal portions of British Columbia, but then with swaths of snow coming off to the north, potentially across northern portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and potentially downstream into Manitoba. So here's the precipitation forecast, just verbatim from the European operational model, and there's nothing to talk about until at least we get to the other side of next weekend, which of course, you know how I am with specifics and details as we get to the 7 to 10 day time frame. But go ahead and check it out. Here's Monday. Here comes that chance for some snowflakes. No accumulation during the day on Tuesday, potentially across central and southern portions of Saskatchewan, and that's it. High pressure settles in. Much more in the way of sunshine as we get into the end of the week. This is now Thursday. This is Friday. Saturday. You're seeing precipitation across the coastal portions of British Columbia. You're seeing at times snow making its way across northern portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And then we get some lessened confidence along with the potential we could get some precipitation across the Prairie all the way out here December 9th. And this is just where we're not even going to touch anything that's out that far, all the way into next Wednesday. Let's leave it at that. A very dry, a very quiet and at times mild next 7 to 10 days across the Prairie provinces. Here's your next 10 days of precipitation. Here's your little chance for some flurries. And then, again, let me go ahead and we'll just do this once again. I let it play there and it reset on me. Here's your chance for some flurries as we get into Tuesday. And then that shuts it down Wednesday. We're now into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, still nothing. Maybe some snow off to the north. And then potentially, as we get into December 9th, 10th, and 11th and beyond, we bring in some more opportunities for precipitation south of Highway 16. Until then, dry, mild, and quiet across the Prairie provinces. Here's your next 10 days in Calgary. Highs between 8 and 10 above zero. As we head through the end of the week into the weekend, here's Medicine Hat kind of hanging out in the low to mid single digits for your afternoon highs. Saskatoon a little bit cooler, still some snow on the ground in places here. Regina keeping it a little bit cooler as well. Those highs still, though, right around the freezing mark, so putting a dent into some of the snow that's on the ground where we do have that deep snowpack lingering. Winnipeg off to the east, a little bit cool on the cooler side, but still, we'll take it this time of year. Those high temperatures bouncing around between a couple of degrees below and above the freezing mark. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday morning.